Minister en dat hij gaat veranderen, maar nu kan niemand hem vinden. Of kijken. Aan voor de komst van de president van de Republiek Suriname en van Guyana. President of the Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Chandrikapersad Santokhi, President of the Government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Mohamed Irfaan Ali, Vice President of the Republic of Suriname, Ronnie Brunswijk, Ministers, distinguished guests, members of the press, welcome. Today is a very big day for both Suriname and Guyana, and there will be a signing of two documents, and therefore is the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Guyana and the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Suriname. I will now ask the President of Suriname for his statement.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, colleague, dear friend, President of Guyana, Mr. Irfaan Ali, and his delegation, Vice President, and other cabinet members of Suriname, members of the media. Good afternoon. And welcome. Welcome at this press conference. And let me start by informing you that we had a very fruitful meeting, a meeting on which we'll elaborate further in this press conference. It's a great honor and privilege to have hosted the first meeting of the Strategic Dialogue and Cooperation Platform, together with His Excellency President Mohamed Irfaan Ali. This is the materialization of our aspirations to energize the collaboration between our two countries and to personally give direction to the cooperation between Suriname and Guyana. On behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Suriname, I have conveyed a warm Surinamese welcome to the President Ali and his delegation during his auspicious visit to Suriname. This visit, the first visit abroad of President Ali, reflects the strategic bond and friendship between our two nations. As small border nations, it is of utmost importance to maintain good neighborliness, to join efforts, and to form strategic alliances to achieve maximum successes for the development aspirations of both our peoples in different areas of the economy. I am convinced that we will be able to achieve massive steps ahead in developing our beloved countries in the coming years. During our deliberations today, we have reiterated the importance of further deepening of the political dialogue at the highest level and to give direction to and monitor the bilateral negotiations and future undertakings in order to achieve tangible development results. Now, with the recent oil findings in both countries and the mitigation of COVID-19 pandemic, the momentum is there to target our focus on sustainable development and resolution of the existing common challenges of two developing countries. We also use this occasion to continue our plans to jointly take on the bridging of the Quarantine River with the signing of a memorandum of understanding in this regard, which will be signed by the Ministers of Foreign Affairs after this press conference. This bridge on the Quarantine River is not only important to facilitate the movement of persons and goods, trade, and cross-border cooperation, but it also symbolizes a transition from the old to a new era, the era of well-being and prosperity of our peoples and freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. In closing, I express appreciation to President Ali, First Lady Mrs. Arya Ali, and delegation to have graciously accepted the invitation to join Suriname in its commemoration of the 45th anniversary of independence, for having constructive discussions, and for setting out the work plan for the working groups to start their mission. And the working groups will start immediately after this session, start working and to give direction to all the actions what we had agreed during our meeting. I was honored to have reciprocated the warm hospitality bestowed upon me and my delegation when we visited Guyana for the inauguration of President Ali. Suriname and Guyana, as friendly neighbors, will continue the long-lasting partnership for the betterment of their countries and prosperity of their people. I thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency, President Chandrikapersad Santokhi. May I now invite the President of Guyana, His Excellency Mohamed Irfaan Ali, for his statement.
Colleague, President Santokhi, ministers and officials of the governments of Suriname and Guyana, especially our dear Vice President of Suriname, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. First, let me say that I'm extremely happy to be here in Suriname to join with the people of this country in celebrating this independence milestone. This is also a significant year for Guyana-Suriname relations. November the 25th, 2020 will mark 45 years since the establishment of formal diplomatic relations between our countries. Guyana and Suriname share a mutual desire for an invigorated relationship through enhanced and sustained dialogue and a practical and effective program of cooperation. During this visit, we have already had the opportunity to review the progress made on issues we had agreed upon in August. We also discussed several other areas for possible cooperation. We have taken the important step by formalizing a new cooperation mechanism, the agreement creating the Strategic Dialogue Cooperation Platform will be signed today. This establishes a framework for dialogue and cooperation which will guide our future collaborative efforts aimed at improving the lives of our people in every possible way. We expect that the joint working groups will meet expeditiously, as President Santokhi said, beginning just after this press briefing, to agree and activate their work program. I would like to take this opportunity to elaborate on some of the other issues which were discussed. In the area of transportation, in view of critical role the ferry service plays in the movement of goods and people, we have agreed that issues affecting the resumption of the ferry should be urgently resolved. Our ministers will sign a memorandum of understanding for the construction of a bridge across the Quarantine River. Once constructed, not if constructed, the bridge will serve as a permanent physical link between the people of Guyana and Suriname. But more importantly, that link to the rest of South America continent. We recognize the enormous benefits that this can bring in the areas of tourism, transportation, and trade. To this end, we have even expanded our discussion in areas where we can jointly promote business opportunities and tourism opportunities for both countries. It is therefore expected that the proposed road alignment will create within its vicinity the possibilities for free trade zone, enhance land value, and this, of course, will reduce the cost of doing business and increase the ease of doing business. We cannot help but to mention the fact that we are meeting today when our world is faced with a pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. We have also discussed collaboration in moving forward in this era, in ensuring that our economies are not left behind, in building the right protocols and guidelines, whilst we both open up our economies to each other. Both Guyana and Suriname recognize the importance of engaging the private sectors in our strategic plans for development. In this regard, we have agreed to the creation of a Guyana-Suriname Business Facilitation Unit to manage and facilitate collaboration between our private sectors. The Council will also promote investment and business opportunities for agriculture, tourism, fisheries, and other sectors. It's important that we bring synergy to what we do, especially with the oil and gas sector. Yes, we're a small country, small population, small human resource base, small investment portfolio, but if we bring synergy to what we do, then we can have greater benefit, greater local content, and more resource flowing back inwards into the local economy. My government remains committed to the pursuit of the various bilateral initiatives agreed upon. And I look forward to working with you, my dear friend, President Santokhi, and your government to advance the relationship between Guyana and Suriname. It is true that we have shared challenges, we have shared threats, and we have shared circumstances. But it is equally true that we have shared opportunities ahead. Opportunities that can only be realized if we have greater cooperation, collaboration, and integration. This is what would lead to lasting, sustainable relationship that would ultimately benefit the people of our country. Relationship based on mutual respect, shared values, development focus, people focus, focus on the integration and regionalization of our people in an open and transparent manner, results-oriented, forward-looking, whilst recognizing our individuality based on trust and joint action. This is what we are achieving together. We can spend a lot of time focusing on negative issues, and we can use a lot of energy focusing on it. But when we convert our energy in the positive direction, it is only the country and people will benefit. Once again, to President Santokhi and the people of Suriname, we thank you graciously for hosting us, and we look forward to welcoming you again and to embracing our fellow brothers and sisters here in unity, love, and peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Mohamed Irfaan Ali, the President of Guyana. May I now invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Guyana and the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Suriname. The first document that will be signed is the Formation Agreement for the Strategic Dialogue and Cooperation Platform between the Government of the Republic of Suriname and the Government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The second document is the Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of Suriname and the Government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana concerning infrastructure projects across the Quarantine River. Thank you very much, Minister of Foreign Affairs from Guyana and Minister of Foreign Affairs from Suriname. There will now be a time where the press can ask questions, and there are 4 members of the press that can ask 1 question. Who will be the first one? Mag ik aan de pers van Suriname vragen om uw naam en uw medium alsjeblieft ook op te noemen?
Goedemiddag, Bisham Chandralal. Ik ben er voor Radio 10. Ik zal bij wijze van uitzondering de vraag in het Engels stellen. President Ali, good day. Do Suriname and Guyana, geldt ook voor onze president, do Suriname and Guyana have a unanimous position when it comes to the cooperation within UNASUR, as we see that most of the countries within the organization are moving towards the new organization, ProSur. So if I can get an answer on that question. And I have another question. When it comes, you have talked about synergy and local content. Does that also include a deep sea harbor, mutual deep sea harbor between both countries, or just expanding of a shore base? Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Ali.
Thank you very much for your question. Very kind of you. First of all, we discussed not only UNISUR and ProSur relations, we discussed our mutual approach to multilateralism, our mutual approach to organizations like CARICOM, and how do we collaborate and ensure that as far as possible we have discussions, whether common or not, on various matters concerning these organizations and our position. Whilst we have not formalized the approach we'll take, there's a natural progression that is taking place. As you're aware, in South America, and we are part of the body, and there are some meetings scheduled, I think early next year, that would have countries give a more defined position as to what they're doing. But I can tell you we are participating with ProSur. We have, for example, we had discussion with them recently on the pandemic. And the pandemic has taught us a very important lesson. When we need to react and act in humanity and as countries, the boundaries, the artificial boundaries that are created between organizations and countries are easily erased when there's a common agenda and common target that we're going after. In terms of shore base and deepwater harbor, we are now exploring synergies, and this is where we are. You are right when we talk about local content, because of how the industry would emerge. You can either be in direct competition with each other, or you can be supporting each other with synergies that bring benefit to both countries. And that is the type of decisions that we have to make. That is the type of policy framework and formulation that we have to discuss. And that is exactly what we're doing. That is why these working groups are set up, so that we are making decisions critical for the advancement of our countries long before we get to that point. So we are hoping to work towards those synergies, and that is why establishing and creating the necessary infrastructure that will enable us to achieve these goals are so essential, and not only essential, important to be accelerated if we are really serious about making those synergies reality. We also are looking beyond that, not only for oil and gas, synergies in our tourism product, synergies in our agricultural sector. Both countries have tremendous potential, but we have to advance to agro-processing, packaging. How do we ensure that in a holistic manner we try to understand where each other is going and work towards meeting the demands of individual and block markets in a way that brings synergy to us, and in a way in which we can jointly approach the opportunities. And that is what I'm referring to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. President Santokhi, zou je aanvulling geven?
Yes, thank you. I just want to underscore what my colleague Irfaan Ali, President of Guyana, had stated. Based on the question of we as two nations should take a joint position, that we should have cooperation on and regional mechanism. The UNASUR was mentioned. And as the President said, yes, we are two CARICOM countries on the continent of South America. That's firstly. Secondly, we do have a lot of similarities, Guyana and Suriname, as regard the people, the history, the culture, the tradition, the economy, the natural resources, our Amazon forests, and so on. So only based on those issues, you need to have a strategy where those two countries can design a joint approach on international fora. And that is what we have agreed during our discussion. Moreover, there are very often funding available coming from international donor organizations or donor countries for the Caribbean region or for the Latin American region. Here is the opportunity for us as two small nations to have a joint approach and to look for those kind of funding which will be beneficial for our own two nations. Those are the things what we are looking for and which can be also in favor of our two countries to have that joint operation. Laat me ook even aangeven, een beetje mix in beide talen, dat wij als twee landen heel veel kunnen bereiken door samen op te trekken dan afzonderlijk op te trekken in internationale fora. En ik heb net een voorbeeld gegeven van CARICOM. Als we een agenda daar willen, dan kunnen wij als twee landen ook aangeven die agenda die belangrijk zijn voor ons. Omdat wij als twee landen meer daarover kunnen zeggen. Als vanuit internationale wetenschappelijke informatie blijkt, namelijk dat deze twee landen, in ieder geval door die global warming, door ook de verwarming van ons klimaat, bedreigd zullen worden door zeewater, dan moeten we elkaar beschermen. Je kan niet één land beschermen en het andere land niet, omdat het water geen onderscheid gaat maken. Tweede is namelijk, als we inderdaad hier als buurlanden geconfronteerd gaan worden met een pandemie zoals nu, COVID, maar er kunnen nog meer dingen, dan moeten we samen optrekken. Dan kunnen wij aangeven hoe de zaken hier gemeenschappelijk gaan aanpakken. Als we milieudreigingen hebben, dan kunnen wij het beste antwoord geven op zulke dreigingen. En zo kan ik doorgaan. En dat is in ieder geval reden om aan te geven dat we samen moeten optrekken. Alleen gebaseerd op de fysieke gesteldheid en de samenstelling ook van de bevolking en andere zaken. Maar wij zeggen, we gaan daar aan een toegevoegde waarde geven. En dat is die politieke commitment. Politiek leadership. Dat wij twee presidenten in ieder geval gaan demonstreren door issues te identificeren die belangrijk zijn voor ons. En dat ook op de regionale en de internationale agenda te gaan brengen. En ja, ik heb niet alle werkgroepen genoemd die onder het platform gaan komen. Maar de werkgroepen die zullen geleid worden door de twee presidenten. En ze zullen gecoördineerd worden door de twee ministers van Buitenlandse Zaken. En daaronder vallen namelijk de werkgroepen Foreign Affairs en Migration Matters. Twee Infrastructure en Transport. Health, Environment and Climate Change. Oil and Gas, Education and Technology. Agriculture, Trade, Security, Tourism, Youth, Sport and Culture. Private Sector. Border Council. Joint Investment. En laat me ook aangeven dat er ook afspraken zijn gemaakt door vandaag al in die verschillende werkgroepen een paar van die zaken uit te werken die belangrijk zijn voor ons. Eén is namelijk dat wij onze airport, Guyana en Suriname, omdat we een besluit genomen hebben dat ingegaan is vanaf gisteren met betrekking tot de COVID, dat we onze airport open gaan stellen voor commercial flights. En dat de ministers nu direct aan de slag gaan. Transport, health en andere ministeries. Om te zorgen dat die protocollen in place zijn. Zodat we hier alvast kunnen starten met de vluchten. En tweede is namelijk dat de werkgroep opdracht heeft gehad om de samenwerking tussen Suriname en Guyana op het gebied van luchtvaart te gaan verduurzamen met een open sky overeenkomst. En dat is ook wat ze als opdracht meegekregen hebben. Er zijn ook andere werkgroepen die direct opdracht meegekregen hebben. Maar als er vragen daarover zijn, dan wil ik daarop nader ingaan.
Dank u wel, president. There are two more questions.
Ivan Cairo, de waarheid. This question is for both presidents. Excellencies, both of you have mentioned that this is the first phase of the next chapter in the relationship between the two countries. But through the years, Suriname and Guyana have maintained a good relationship, but still there is the lingering question of the southern border issue. We had a maritime border issue that is resolved, and we have seen that both countries are benefiting from that. What will you two presidents do during your time in office to also resolve the southern border issue? Thank you.
Thank you very much. President?
Thank you very much for your very kind question. As you rightfully pointed out, we had a maritime issue which has been resolved. And I'm sure you're aware too that we have a border commission that is working assiduously on outstanding issues. We have to allow, just like we allow the other process to bring a resolution and both countries are benefiting, we have to allow the commission to do its work at a technical level. And of course, when they are ready and when they have finalized their work, they will bring their recommendations to us. And to speak prematurely on a work that is ongoing is not doing justice to the commission itself. So what we are focused on, whilst the commission is doing its work, we are focused on moving ahead with the relationship, moving ahead in solidifying our plans, moving ahead in bringing the two countries and people closer together, moving ahead in creating new opportunities, in creating new infrastructure, in creating a framework for trade, in ensuring that we are ready and equipped to face the challenges that will come ahead so that we can have the maximum benefit from the opportunities. One is not dependent on the other. So if we do that, then we'll forever be holding back our development. So what we have here is a different track, whilst the Commission is doing its work, that focuses on development, that focuses on advancement, that focuses on integration, that focuses on sustainable relations, and that focuses on ultimately bringing more benefit to the people of our two countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. President Santokhi?
Ja. Deze vraag gaat altijd komen totdat we inderdaad het probleem een keertje goed opgelost zal zijn. And as my colleague President said, yes, it is on the political agenda. It is part of the platform for the dialogue, high-level dialogue, and the experts will continue to have the dialogue in that border commission. And sure, when the time will be there, it will come on the agenda of the two presidents. But on the other side, we have high priority for also the issues which are binding us, for issues where both nations are looking for as opportunities, where both countries have the opportunity with joint strategy to develop the two countries. And I'll mention some of them. We spoke about the bridge over the Quarantine River, and we said that there will be a call from both nations on asking the international community to express their willingness for the interest they want to express for the study, the feasibility study, the design, the build, the maintenance, financing, and so forth. That we'll do it jointly. And when all these organizations will have responded on the expression of interest, then as two nations will see what is the best, what we want, and how we'll proceed further. But the same thing will happen also with the offshore base, that the working group oil and gas will have similar discussion to see what is the best approach in the benefit of both nations. Because an offshore base is $1 billion, it's more than $1 billion investment. There's opportunity to look at such a huge project jointly, but expand that also to the private sector so that we can have a PPP approach and to see what we can achieve with that dialogue which the working group had been mandated to start with that discussion to give us the best advice. And that announcement of expression will follow direct after this meeting. It can be over a couple of days. The other issue is the joint investment. And that's our experience in Suriname, and I have noticed the similar experience what Guyana is facing, that when you're having investors who wants to invest, then they're looking for investment opportunity, not only in Suriname, but also in Guyana. Not only in Guyana, but also Suriname. Here we have the opportunity as two leaders to have established a joint investment committee to invite investors who want to invest in both nations. And that we can do it jointly, again, which will be beneficial for both country and both people. The issue on the Kanawaima. And it's more than 1.5 years. It's not operational. And there is no meeting with those two boards of Suriname and Guyana. There will be a change on that situation. We agree that the Kanawaima topic will be on our agenda, and that the working group will start with the discussion in the coming days. And the direction the two presidents had provided is, firstly, that there is a technical report designed by the Maritime Authority of Suriname, which had carried out an examination of the vessel, of the ferry. So the two boards should come together the coming week and to look at the examination report, and based on the report, to set out a timeline to bring that vessel to the dry dock in Paramaribo. Yes, and if it will come to the dry dock, then we have to get advice from the board what to do as two government, what to do as two nation meanwhile. And we agree as two leaders, as two president, that we will have a call to the public sector, Guyana, Suriname, but also to the private sector to look for solutions while the vessel will be on dock, so that those sectors can come with a temporary solution by putting in place a ferry which can start with the operation again. So that is one of the topics we have discussed and agreed also. So those are some of the topics we agreed, and if there will be questions, I'll come to more issues.
Dank u wel, president. Er is nog ruimte voor één vraag. One question. No one? Then I want to thank you all for this special moment that we are here at the presidential palace, and I want to ask for you to stand for the two presidents are about to leave.
Warhol.
Dat er 2 documenten getekend zijn door de minister van Buitenlandse Zaken, International Business en Internationale Samenwerking, Albert Ramdien, maar ook de minister van Buitenlandse Zaken van Guyana, Hugh Stott. De presidenten van Suriname en Guyana die waren beide aanwezig. De pers van Suriname was er en ook een delegatie die is gekomen vanuit Guyana. U heeft ook bij de presidenten gehoord wat er allemaal gaat gebeuren, hoe deze samenwerking verder uitgediept zal worden. Het programma is nog niet afgelopen, want we gaan naar 25 november toe. Dat is morgen, waar wij dan 45 jaar staatkundige onafhankelijkheid vieren. Graag tot morgen. Goedemiddag.